I think we're just really excited about the opportunity to build on the momentum that we built this summer, especially in regards to our trip to Europe. I was really happy with a lot of things that I saw, both with team improvement, but maybe most importantly with the individual improvement that our players made, in particular our freshmen. I think it's been said to me many times that we led the country in minutes played by freshmen last year, and it's nice to see those young guys really develop and make some significant progress in their game.
You did play a ton of freshmen last year. Which ones have kind of made the biggest jumps in the rest of the offseason?
I would say Jade Christopher and Kylie Kapatich. Kylie spent a lot of time in the gym. She wasn't happy with her three-point percentage in particular a year ago. Now, that wasn't all her fault. She played way too many minutes last year, and for a player who needs to have their legs under them and that's really got the opportunity to be a prolific three-point shooter, a player doesn't want to hear that we got to get your minutes down, but 37, 38 minutes is a lot of minutes for anybody in the country, but especially a freshman. So I think there's some situations that we can do a better job, managing. Hopefully now that we have a little bit more depth, managing her minutes. And then Jade is, really didn't have a mid-range jump shot, when she arrived on campus, and that's something that we've worked really, really hard with her to develop. She's so dynamic off the bounce and can get the ball in the lane. But last year she was a little bit of an all-or-nothing, player when she got in there, whether it was dropping it off or finishing at the rim. And I think now she understands, especially with the size in our league, the value of having a mid-range or a floater game, if you will.
This is the payoff, too, this year of playing so many freshmen at times. I'm sure you don't want to have 3 or 4 on the floor at a time, but that sophomore year, that experience of year,
No, I think we started 3 freshmen and 2 sophomores a lot, and that's not really a recipe for success, in particular in the Big 12. So I do think that, those were really valuable minutes, that they gained, and they were thrown into the fire. I mean, half our team was freshmen. So, we didn't have a lot of other options, but I am pleased with the progress that they've made.
Hey, Brandon, what is maybe the biggest challenge of bringing in so many transfers and kind of trying to get them into the system and mold them into the kind of players that you
Well, 2 of them were here, all last year, in Jessica Washington and Mackenzie Calvert. So, they spent the entire season last year kind of working into things, but I thought they had really good summers. The 10 practices that we had in August in preparation for that trip. So, I feel like they have a lot of experience already, even though it's not, on the court here in Allen Fieldhouse. And then in terms of the 2 frontline players, Sydney Mary and Lisa Blair, it's going to take them some time. Sydney was not here all summer. She had an internship with Nike that it's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and going to benefit her long beyond her basketball career, and we wanted to make sure she took advantage of that. And then Lisa was only here in July. So Lisa played a little bit in Europe, not a lot, and Sydney didn't play any. So October and November are going to be really big months for them.
We've talked a lot about Jessica and Mackenzie, but just now that they can play, what are overall expectations for them?
The pace that we'll play with will be quite a bit different. When you talk about Jess is going to play some point guard, but I think we can move her off the ball a little bit too. And then you talk about Jade Christopher also being a point guard for us. The pace that they play with is much different, than what we saw last year. I think you'll see us throw the ball ahead a little bit more, and they're just both really dynamic and fast with the ball and kind of can create not only their own shot, but create for others. Kenzie's can really score it in a lot of different ways, and I'm hopeful that Mackenzie maybe, along with Asia Robertson, would be 2 of our better on-ball defenders. I mean, Kenzie's really got a little bit of that junkyard dog kind of mentality and can set the tone, for your defense when you want to extend it.
It's always difficult for transfers to sit out, but especially given how last season went, did you see it in their faces that they were disappointed they couldn't get out there and help you guys?
I think so. There's no doubt. You know, it's hard to go through that. Whether you're a coach or a player or a transfer who's sitting out, but those are things, learning experiences that we got through. And I'll say this: I thought we got a lot better in the last 3 weeks, and I had tremendous respect for our players in that they never quit. They continue to get better. Maybe our performance in the Big 12 tournament, whether it was with the win over TCU or, we're in the game in the fourth quarter with Texas. I think we're down 8 in the fourth quarter. That's the number 6 team in the country. I just thought we really showed a lot of progress down the stretch when, a lot of teams in in those situations, would have tanked it long ago.
Who's impressed you as a vocal leader on the team right now?
I have to go back to Europe because I'm just not here a lot in September, with the recruiting calendar the way it is. But I do know that, Jade Christopher and Kylie have been really vocal. And then our seniors, Kaylin Manning-Allen and Jada Brown. I think Shayla Cheadle's another player. I don't know that right now we have just, hey, that's our leader. I think we need to get into October practices and get into some situations where some guys have to earn that.
And the news with Tyler is pretty tough. What's the biggest difficulty that comes without her?
Well, we'll see how long she's out. She did lead our team in field goal percentage a year ago, and I thought, I believe she started maybe the last 6 games a year ago. I'd have to look back at the stats, but she's a player that's got a chance to have a really good career here, and but those are things that happen.
When you had time to reflect on last year, did anything what did you learn most? Did anything surprise you about where the program was at from when you took over to the end of the year?
No, we knew kind of what we were getting into. And I think I probably sat here about this time last year and reminded everybody that 68% of the scoring graduated, with Natalie Knight and Chelsea Gardner, who was a WNBA player, draft pick, and, Asia Boyd, and on down the line. We knew it was going to be very difficult, for us to score. And then that's compounded by the fact that we have, so much youth. And then a coach that's trying to get to really know his personnel and his players. And I think that's one area where we're a lot farther ahead, this time, this year than we were last, just kind of knowing what we have and how we want to play and, how those pieces fit together.
Talking about the scoring last year, kind of going back to Jessica McKenzie, do you envision that they will help with that, like you said, with their playmaking and what they're able to do?
I sure hope so. Now, it doesn't matter who we have on our roster. We will always strive to be a program that can, have 4 guys in double figures. That's just how I think basketball should be played. I think you have to share the ball and you have to get it from, a lot of different spots on the court. But those are 2 players. For us to have the kind of turnaround that we aspire to, those 2 are going to have to be some of our better scorers. There's no question.
I know it's still early with the Bruce Center and the original rules, but do you see that helping your recruiting at all?
We'll find out in November when signing day rolls around. I am really proud of our staff, not only with the caliber of player that we've been able to bring to campus, whether it be on official visits or unofficial visits. I'm also really excited about, the homes that we've been able to get to and get in and talk about our program and our vision. There's lots of great things and lots of reasons that, a young lady should consider coming here. And, I don't know, with the new apartments are being built that our players are going to live in the fall of 2018, I feel like we're covering all the bases.
What do you think you got out of that trip to Europe over the offseason? It didn't seem like you played competitive opponents, but you got out there to play. What's
the first 2 opponents, the first 2 games, I should say, were against the same team. And that was the best team we played when we were over there. I think we won the first game by 9. And you have no idea, there's no scouting report. It's basically, hey, you take 10, I got, 11, whatever. And then in the next day, we watched about 10 minutes of film. We talked about some matchups, and I think we won by 40 plus. So we were able to, obviously be a little bit more prepared the second game. But there were 2 pros on that team, and there were players that were on some of their younger national teams, under 20, under 19, under 18 national team. The next 2 opponents, they were more like exhibition games, if you will. But we moved the ball. We shared it. Every game we had 4 people or more in double figures. We shot it well. Shot in the high 30s from 3 and shot over 50% from 2. And I thought we played really, really hard defensively. But the basketball, to me, the practices were the most important part. But then just the travel and the chemistry and being around each other, I think that's really, really something that's invaluable and something that you only get a chance to do once every 4 years.
Where do you think that chemistry is at now compared to last year? Where you started?
I think it's a lot better, not only within the locker room, but I also think, players to coaches, just because we've gotten to know each other. I think, they know kind of what they're going to get from me and when I'm being serious and when I'm not. And they took me pretty serious for a long time early in the year last year. And I just think that we've made a lot of progress in that area. One thing that's really important to me, I didn't have a house. I lived in an apartment all last year while our home was being built. So the team's not coming over, and you're not doing all those activities that are really, really important to me. And now since March, that's been completely different. Just here in town, the team building and the chemistry that we're able to do, whether it be, the players, the staff, and we kind of have a place now.
What are some of the team building things that you've done at your house since March?
Well, they're over all the time. Whether we have recruits in town or whether they just want to swim or whether they just want my wife to cook them something to eat. That's what I grew up around. I'm a coach's kid, and my dad's players were over all the time. And whether we were at Emporia State or Stephen F. Austin, there's times I would go home and I didn't know players were going to be there. They text my wife and they're over hanging out, and that's great. I mean, that's we're always going to create that type of family atmosphere, and I just think that that's something that was really missing last year, and as part of taking over a new job.
And Brandon, maybe last year you'd mentioned that one of the mistakes you felt like you made at SFA was not instituting maybe your system right away, and that you were going to maybe do that here.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get the results doing it in year 1 and just kind of not paying attention to the personnel right away?
I would say yes, in some respects. Now, we did make some offensive changes late in the year that I thought really benefited us. I'll use Kaylin Manning Allen as an example. I tried to make her a player that she's really not for several months, and we tried to pump it inside to her and have her be that back to the basket player that you could go get a basket, and it just wasn't her, and we moved her up around the elbow and the high post and had her do some other things, and I thought she was a lot more comfortable, and I think she really likes what we're doing. I like the spots that we're playing her in. And, she's more liable to make a 15-footer than she is a low post move and get you a basket. And that's okay. I just was a little bit stubborn in trying to make her into a player that, she's just not.
Have any other questions for Coach? Great, thank you, Coach.
Thank you guys very much.